he owns a studio where he made us a recording right there on old Broadway. For a week or two we got the hell away from Spray. Way up in New York City, that's the place to be, where the buildings are so high the sky is hard to see.
Not many people know about Charlie Poole. The fact that he went to New York and made that record and that was a huge hit, and then they were paid $75 between the three of them. That's the only money he ever saw from that. The music business never really changes.
As a character, there's something very winning about him. He was a rapscallion. There was a lot about him that was reprehensible, but there is a life force there. He was both a great, enlivening to be around, but he might rob you of your last $5 bill if you don't watch him.
We know we just got into the world of that, or at least how we perceived of it, and we just had fun with it pretty much. I didn't try to do some kind of Charlie Poole impression. Well, that would be pointless.
Just as blue as can be. I ain't got nobody to make a big fuss over me. If I don't get somebody, I'll go back to the farm, milk the cows and the chickens, and don't give a golly gosh darn.
We wrote some material, based on things that happened to him, or might have, in our imagination at least, might have been suitable for him to sing.
It was hard being married to Charlie. It was no kind of regular life. He never stopped rambling or drinking or gambling, at least not while I was his wife. I never knew what he was up to, except for those postcards he'd send. Just a couple of lines to say he was fine, and he'd sign them, "See Poole, your old friend."
When the Depression hit, his records stopped selling. And, his audience, which he would go from town to town, and playing, churches and schoolhouses for a nickel or something, got down to the point where, his audience didn't even have an extra nickel to come and see him, and he couldn't support himself. And he went back to Spray, and went back working in the mill, which he thought he put behind him. And I imagine that must have been enormously depressing for him. And this is after, being to New York City, and traveling around and being Charlie Poole.
High, white, and handsome, that's how I like living. High, white, and handsome, that's how life should be. Low, skinny, and ugly, that's for other people. High, white, and handsome suits me to a T.
I mean, like a lot of people in show business, he was a very self-destructive guy. He was a terrible, terrible drunk. From everything that I've read and every indication, he was a real addict. I mean, that's one of the things I tried to capture in the song High, White, and Handsome. Kind of arrogant. That kind of, I may be killing myself, but I'm out here having a good time. Check it out, We're not here long.
High, white, and handsome, you can call it my creed. Money's just paper, liquor's thicker than water. High, white, and handsome in thought, word, and deed.